Sorta Ridiculous is sponsored in part by Drunken Cobra. Drunken Cobra is a diverse, inclusive neighborhood pub in East Tosa. It offers year-round weekly events like karaoke and music performances. Drunken Cobra is located at 6818 West North Avenue. Drunken Cobra, obey the snake.
So we were on the air the entire time, or we were just kind of cross-talking.
Exactly.
All right.
That's what it's about. So you know what that means. It's time for another episode of Sorta Ridiculous. Smash the button. Smash the button. 2 times now, y'all. Cha-cha, real smooth. Turn it out. All right, so I just want to let you know that you're listening to River West Radio, WXRW 104.1 FM, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
.com.
Smash that button. Donate some money. That's what we do. We are awesome. All right. So my name is Darren. Most of the time. Yeah, it's Darren today as well. And with me as always is my co-host Billy Ray.
Happy Thursday, River West.
All right. And I'm excited today because we have 2 veteran comedians that I'm looking forward to working with. All right. And we'll be working with them. So with us in the studio today, we have one Dana Ehrmann.
How you doing, Darren?
You doing
How you doing,
right?
Billy Ray?
Pleasure to meet
Thank
you guys.
you, Mitch. And Chris Schmid.
Good evening, everybody.
What's going on?
Oh man, it's balmy out there today.
Man.
Feels tropical.
Balmy AF.
Right.
Is weather stuff good to talk about on the radio?
Of course,
As
it's
frigid.
Wisconsin tropical.
Okay.
All right. So, oh God. Okay, here we go.
Is it called balmy because you have to use balm?
Chris,
Like
that
that's
was
when you
so
use lip
late.
balm?
That was so late.
That doesn't answer my question.
I'm going to answer it in 30 seconds.
The weather is barmy. It's in that British sense of being sort of ridiculous.
Yeah, it is sort of.
Oh, there we
ridiculous.
go.
Completely
That's-
absurd in some cases. All right.
This
so,
is why they keep me around.
so with you guys being new guests, I have questions for you. Have you guys thought about this? Or,
I
No, we're
have
getting
thought
right
about
to the
it.
questions.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we're
And
gonna
Chris is
get
going
there.
first. He volunteered that, which is
Okay.
So
That's awful swell of him, yeah.
So answer me these questions 3. All right. So question 1: what is something sort of ridiculous about you?
Probably the most ridiculous thing about me is I'm an adult professional wrestling fan.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
All time?
Yes, all
All
time.
time, Bret the Hitman Hart.
All right. All right.
Excellence of execution. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
Okay. So for me, it was Stone Cold for a long time.
Very cool, very cool.
Then I randomly adopted The Rock, but actually my all-time would be Hulk Hogan.
Oh, really? Wow.
Hell
Okay.
yeah!
I mean, he was
Dude,
popular.
When I
It makes
when I
sense.
first got
Somebody
into
liked
it,
him, you know?
when I first got into it, I was like, "Oh snap, Hulkamania!" And he's kind of like, at that point, he was like the Mario of wrestling.
Oh no, he was like the icon, and that's when I got into it. I was a kid, and when I saw him, it was like all over for me. That's probably why I am a fan. But he's the character has lasted a long time and been through some stuff.
Oh my God, yes.
Professionally and personally.
I
I think
tried
it's
separate
good to
that.
remember the essence of what he was, because that's just a symbol.
Right.
It's actually a symbol of nationalism in a lot of ways. It's pretty. It's kind of ugly when you go back and look
God,
at the propaganda.
trucks,
That
apple
was-
pie, and Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Drop a leg on the Russians, you know. Very xenophobic, actually.
Good God, as a kid, I didn't think
Read
about
your
any
Bible.
of that.
Read your Bible. You know.
Did he say
Kinda-
that?
Wow,
Yeah.
I forgot about
The
that.
prayers, the training, the vitamins, the Bible.
Man, as a kid, I knew.
He was
I-
just, he was giving you a good message, but it was propaganda.
And this is why George Animal Steel is the greatest wrestler that ever
I was going to say,
lived.
That was
other
a guy for the
wrestlers-
individual. That was something different about George Steele.
Ric
He was
Flair
brilliant.
never
Not
told
like
you
the
to
other
read your
ones.
Bible. you know?
Woo!
Yeah. Woo.
Well, that's cool because Ric Flair is like the foil of Hogan. He's kind of the opposite in a lot of ways, but he's also kind of the capitalism and the excess of the 80s.
Now we're talking.
Right?
Now we're getting
love
Driving around in
you know,
suits, traveling, watches,
wooing.
bar tabs.
Yeah, I like how like the next generation of how generations of these characters, I mean of these wrestlers, get into the game as well, and like whole parts of families, like The Rock's relatives, and apparently Hulk Hogan's, I believe, no, Ric Flair's like son and daughter had got into wrestling.
His son died, unfortunately, but his daughter is like one of the biggest like female stars right now. Actually, I mean, then the WWE's like pushed women a lot harder and had like Charlotte Flair was a WrestleMania main event one year.
And who's seen the Iron Claw, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Of course.
Oh, right.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about wrestling families. Let's go.
Let's go. All right.
When I hear the Claw, I always think Baron von Raschke, the classic from the classic pre-Hulk Hogan era, where the German World War I helmet and the monocle, and he kind of goose stepped holding a.
Well, it's funny because he was like,
nobody remembers Baron von Raschke.
No.
I know who you're talking. What's funny is he was like a Nazi character, and he had the claw. And the patriarch of the Von Erich family, Fritz Von Erich, his original gimmick before the whole family and everything was he was a Nazi character.
No
He
way.
came in place, so that's where the
that
claw
in
comes
the
from.
movie.
Not necessarily out and out Nazi, but evil German.
Because they kind of had stereotypical moves, like if he's a chic guy, he does the camel clutch. The Nazi was Nazis had the claw. That was a Nazi move.
Oh my gosh.
And then this tragic
A24
family.
didn't put that in. Yeah.
And they're like, "Ooh, it's our
A24 cut
name.
that.
Our name is the reason we're cursed." No, maybe
Right.
it's that you portrayed a Nazi. Maybe that was.
And we did
where you
not
picked up
want
the bad
wait.
karma.
You did not see that. There you go. Well, I did not see that.
It's if you like wrestling movies and crying,
I was
it'll
gonna
check
say,
both
if
those
you like
boxes.
feeling sad, do you like being sad?
I go to
I like
Schindler's
it sometimes,
List.
yeah.
It wasn't like a lingering sadness though. It was the sadness I want in a movie. If a movie doesn't make me cry, I feel a little ripped off. So
Oh my god. Okay, I'm totally obsessed with the movie. I'll get to that.
Yeah,
in a
you didn't
sec.
cry during Sorry to Bother You.
I think I don't know if I did or
Wait,
not.
was that sad? Okay, in a sense, it was.
It was
sad.
shocking.
Yeah, it was definitely. Man, for me,
Actually, I
felt
almost
like
cried because I was terrified, but I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil. But when the thing happened, that was pretty upsetting.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
for like the first half, I felt seen, and then after that, it was obscene.
You're like, no more scene. I don't
yeah, I'm
feel
not
seen anymore.
Like,
yeah.
no.
but I love the experience of watching that movie. When there's a movie that just hits you with a turn that you absolutely weren't expecting, and it's like absurd and
'Cause it gets harder
ridiculous.
and harder,
that was
right?
But like it
definitely
works.
ridiculous.
It holds up.
It gets harder and
That's
harder
the
to be
magic.
surprised like
Absolutely.
that. So
Yeah.
We're always trying to predict the twists now. That's what happened to M. Night Shyamalan. Is he got a good twist on us, and then we're like going into his movie with
Looking for the clues.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Looking for the red.
We're
looking for the-
we're watching it too much to like predict it versus just appreciate it.
No, I feel you, and I feel like the most recent movie, like you could see what was happening almost a mile away, but it still had a proper twist.
are we talking
It's
about
almost
the
like-
old beach?
I'm talking about Saltburn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that
Did
wasn't
you
M
see
Night
Saltburn?
though.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh yeah, M Night. I mean, he's cool, but no, you guys need to see Saltburn.
I do need to see Saltburn.
Dog, it is. Have you seen Saltburn, Chris?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I saw it. I don't know if I would call that a plot twist or just being straight up twisted. It was just a lot of really
You know, it
disturbing.
Oh,
was
you're
twisted.
selling it. I love it.
Very
I'm going
disturbing.
Home and watching it.
Yeah, I mean it's stuff you don't see every day for sure.
No, it's beautiful and it's refreshing. It was refreshing with everything else that's out there. It's definitely a very twisted, a whole like damn movie. But yeah,
Well, and what's the
it's
name
refreshing.
of the lead actor? Barry Keoghan.
Barry
is it
Keoghan,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a fascinating actor. He's someone who I'll watch in just about anything.
Is.
Yeah,
agree.
I had to go back and watch The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah.
I need to
because of
rewatch
that.
that.
I
that
did
was
the
like
same
his
thing,
first.
actually. That
That's
was
when he
kinda-
came on the scene, right?
He's so
Yeah.
perfectly
Yeah.
creepy.
Dude, it's his face.
Yeah.
It's his face.
Very
He has the
unique
body of
face.
like the statue of David, but his face looks like Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, man.
Post,
Kind of
post-face
Rourke-ish. Kind of Rourke-ish.
There's some
reconstruction.
Rourke there, yeah.
Yeah, but The Killing of a Sacred Deer takes me down like a Yorgos Lanthimos.
Speaking of unexpected plot twists.
Yes, yes. Oh, Yorgos.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the Poor Things.
Poor
yet.
Things. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it's. I guess. What does it say about me and my taste in movies? I just need something that's so far from. Not mainstream, but I don't want to be that guy. But I need something that's
I hear
refreshing.
you. And I saw the trailer, and that's not mainstream. Yeah, the trailer was hard to watch for me, so we'll see.
Wait, so have you seen The Lobster?
Yes, great.
Dude, The Lobster. That's like one of my go-to movies. Like Saltburn is going to be, and like The Mummy is. The Brendan Fraser Mummy, not the Tom Cruise Mummy. We'll leave.
Oh yeah,
We'll leave that
was.
alone.
Yeah, understood.
It's like so violent, but still kind of like 90s whimsical. type deal.
It's not often you see a movie and like there's a genuinely unique plot for it. We recycle the same plots over and over, and that's a given. That goes back to Shakespeare and everything. But something like The Lobster is just like that came from a really like imaginative idea, and then you don't know where it's going now. It's completely estranged.
You can only
That's
be
actually
along
I
for the
like
ride.
watching foreign films for that reason, because I think foreign films all operate under different conventions. So like I like South Korean movies a lot, like South Korean thrillers are, and they take plot twists that you don't expect because they're not like our conventions.
Yeah, it's Far East conventions. Yeah, no, that's legit. I can talk about movies all day, but let's get to question 2. All right, what is something sort of ridiculous to you?
When there's this one's just personal to my drive here. When there's an opportunity for there to be a green light, green arrow. And instead, they just give you the yellow flashing arrow.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Humboldt and Capitol.
Exactly. There's like 4 of these lights now where I know where they are, and I know I'm not going to get that green. And every time I'm hoping there's going to be a green, because it would just make everything so much easier.
Dude,
There's no reason for it to not. If it's built
they're
in,
leaving
it's
us to
just-
chaos.
Yeah.
dude, if
You could give us order, and you're leaving us to chaos by choice.
You know when someone's the other way also turning, and so you can't see beyond them, and you're just
Yeah,
like, I'm
it's
taking a leap of
terrifying.
faith here.
Yeah.
right,
absolutely.
right. Ah, no, see,
Left turning at an intersection is such an it makes me anxious every time.
I literally out loud I go, ah!
Sometimes I will like do extra right turns to not have to deal with a particularly hard left turn.
Dude, you see, here's what I do. There's like a couple of things first thing that I've tried recently is if I'm not the first car, I'll stop various lengths behind this. Like it's an ongoing experiment. But if there's like more than like 3 or 4, I'm like, whatever. I'm going through the light and busting a Yui and making a right there on Humboldt.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a move.
Yeah.
But enough about like the east side traffic pissing people off. Unless you have something to say,
Well, you just touching on a nerve every time. I can't wait to see your.
I don't think
your
mine are
solid
going to be as
vibe.
fruitful, honestly. But
Okay.
This one's been simmering for a while, and I just kind of articulated it on the drive over in my head. I was like, this is a problem.
Yeah, it definitely is. All right. So, question 3. What is something sort of ridiculous that has happened to you?
Oh man, I don't know if I had this one prepared. Let's see, something sort of ridiculous that has happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give me one of yours while I'm thinking it over, Darren? What's ridiculous happening to you?
Something sort of ridiculous that happened to me. Okay, so I know I talked about it last week, but it's the start of a banner year for Darren and sort of ridiculous. So one of my shows, the bar was voted best karaoke bar
Hey.
in
Hell yeah.
Milwaukee.
That's
so
right.
I'm
Congratulations.
showing my ass all year. But here's the funny thing. I'm trying to flex at shows and stuff, but these last couple of weeks, people have still been defrosting from all that snow stuff. So I'm flexing for like, maybe a dozen or 18 people. So come
Well,
on
and I'm
now.
guessing a big chunk of that is you're not the kind of host who's like who's standing in the background as a host. I've seen how you host the mic. You got a lot of personality. You interject. I'm sure you do. Do you sing songs?
Oh, of
Mix it up?
course. I wouldn't
But he's
do
not
this
that
if I
opposite
couldn't
thing
get
where it's-
involved, to be honest.
But you're also not doing that opposite trouble where it's just like the host and his friends.
Yeah.
Right. That's a problem.
It's always annoying. Like,
You want
nobody
that
can
right
get
balance,
on
but
the-
you definitely don't want you to not, because your charisma is keeping it afloat, basically. So that
thank
means
you.
a lot that you won that.
I appreciate that. I greatly appreciate that. And I'm not sure, how to. I'm trying to be humble, but I feel like I've been humble long enough. So like the 3/4 of the way through last year, I was like, you know what? I'm out for blood. I am out for blood. I'm tired of being humble. Like people piss me off, and it's like it's
Well,
just
hey,
time to get it. It's time to get
celebrating
it.
a well-earned accomplishment, I don't think that's not humble. I mean, you're not going overboard. You got to celebrate the success.
There's a graceful way to flex.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And learning how to do that is just our life's journey.
Oh, for sure. So like the first thing I did to like personally celebrate was the next day I salt burned around my house.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
I can't wait till I know what you're talking about.
I totally did.
I feel a little harassed for you planting that image in my head.
Is it that bad?
You're like, I didn't consent to
I also had to
that.
look up what salt
This isn't a mental movie I was planning on watching.
I think that's my missing of my lack of social cues. All right. So yeah. So have you thought about
Just to
your-
clarify, you don't mean drinking bath water, right?
Oh no. Yeah.
When I find out what it actually means, am I going to wish you were talking about drinking bath water?
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely
No,
not.
Depends how depends how much
No,
you
because
fancy
what I have in
dairy.
mind is actually festive.
Festive.
You're never going to think about drinking bath water the same way again. though.
And I had very
prepared.
specific thoughts that better not change.
This changes everything.
It depends on if you want bubbles or not.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. All right. So did you think about yours?
I did. I'm going to try to just make this as concise as possible because it's kind of an insane story. But
go
one
for
time I was living in a studio apartment, and one morning I woke up to some pounding on my door. And by the time I got to the door, I was working third shift too, so this is like the afternoon, but I was like dead asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting louder and louder as I'm coming to the door. I'm thinking it's maybe my landlord. And by the time I get to the door, the top panel part,
Yeah.
explodes basically.
What?
And this dude who looks like the actor James Woods.
Yes.
Imagine him at like his most psychotic, real like just drenched in sweat
Like cat's eye.
and
type-
wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
What did James
And he
Woods
starts
want?
asking. He said he starts asking for some guy, if I remember right, by the name of Marlowe or Marlin, something like that. I had a new neighbor who'd moved in across the hall, who I think he'd introduced himself to me as Marley. So it took me a second to like line up the names. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he says the guy's name again, Marlowe. He's a drug dealer. And in that moment, the rest of my life played out in my head. And I was like, oh, that scene in movies where like the hero just barely escapes the mobsters who are looking for him, but his roommate gets murdered. That's what's about to happen to me. I'm about to be collateral damage in this this drug dealer's
You're about to be a transition screen.
and
Definitely cinematic.
You're about to be in a cast as unlucky neighbor.
Exactly. And I'm trying to put the whole thing together, and I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know what you mean. I'm like, maybe he ripped this guy off and he's looking for him or something. And then my landlord like showed up he worked next door, and he showed up like at the front door. I was on the second story in the hallway. And the guy kind of looked down and saw him, and he was like, I'm calling the police. And he ran back away. And the guy like turned around and like got in his car and left. And I was just like totally shaken. And the cops showed up. They talked to me. They thought that I was somehow involved because of the whole drug dealer aspect. And they were like going through my stuff. They were like, do you have drugs here? And I was like, I have a pipe that I haven't smoked in a while, but there might be resin. I didn't know.
Putting you in a horrible
And then
position.
another cop came up, and they were like, never mind, he has nothing to do with it. This guy who had moved in across the hall had slept with this James Woods guy's girlfriend. And the guy had a psychotic breakdown because his grandfather had just died, and he hadn't slept in like 72 hours. So he just flipped out and came looking for this guy, and he had knocked through our front door too.
Mm-hmm.
He'd like kicked over this big wooden door to get into this hallway to like shatter my door. I don't know why. It's unfortunate he hadn't just chosen the apartment across the hall to Marlon's
among us,
apartment.
though?
Which
You
would, be,
know.
which would be interesting because if we ever get that guy on the show.
Yeah,
Crazy,
if we could
sweaty
track
James
that
Woods
guy
looking
down.
that would be his, like, here's something really sort of ridiculous that happened to me. So,
Right,
so
that's
my
definitely
grandpa
so
had died.
ridiculous.
I learned
Yeah.
the whole. I learned the whole like. Well, the guy then my neighbor a couple days later came and like apologized to me, but he was like with his girlfriend. So now I felt like I couldn't say that I knew what the cops had told me about him sleeping with this other guy's girlfriend because I just don't want. I don't want to be a part of any of this at all.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. Stuff happens.
Oh, so then you had a fun little secret.
Right. Ooh. I'm glad you didn't take it to the grave because that
it
was
was interesting to
juicy.
kind of have that because I really did think I was going to die from how many movies I've seen. Mostly because I've just seen too many Tarantino movies. But that part of my imagination was totally there. And it's also a crazy thing to happen.
That is wild.
Right.
Yeah.
that is definitely.
I mean, I'm
wild.
sorry, a sort of ridiculous thing to
Yeah,
happen.
it is sort of ridiculous because it's ridiculous, but it's true. That just makes
Absolutely.
sense. All right, so we have Dana over here. She's been thinking.
All right, Dana,
Not sure
you've
what
had
it
plenty
has
of
her.
time.
Yeah.
All right, so
What?
you ready for this?
Yeah. What's the first one again?
What is something sort of ridiculous about you?
Oh, okay. Sort of ridiculous about me is that I was such a picky eater for so long in my life that there's still very normal things that I'm catching up on. Like I had a donut 2 years ago for the first time.
What?
And so
That's fun.
and so like I don't know, there's still plenty of normal stuff that people can introduce me to.
Okay. What is something that you need to be introduced to? I'm curious.
Oh boy.
Okay, let's go one sweet and one savory.
I mean, like any seafood at all.
Okay.
You haven't eaten seafood, or you don't usually?
I mean, fish sticks, but otherwise I
So
haven't
like
had
no
any.
shrimp or like fish fries or any. You should probably start with a fish fry.
Yeah.
You should probably
just
start
being
with the
local
fish
is a good
fry.
place to start.
Yeah.
Start with the fish fry. It's
if you like fried food, it's mostly just fried food. The fish
Hey
is like only
now.
like half the taste, really.
right that.
Okay.
Or scallops. No scallops. That's
Scallops, I
that's
think,
a
is kind of
veteran-
a
Scallops
That
are
would
refined.
be
kind
a
of like
veteran,
advanced
yeah.
shrimp.
Yeah, I don't think I can
I would go
right into
shrimp
that.
calamari
shrimp.
scallops. That's the latter.
Yeah. I like
Okay,
that.
that's
I like that.
that sounds like a good list. Okay, I'll work on that. Sweets, I mean, yeah, donut took forever. Like pie. I haven't really had pie.
Huh? That's very okay. So
Any
then,
pies?
Any pies?
all right. So what
Is
do
that by
you
choice? Have you just?
Yeah, I've just looked at it and never been like dying to try that.
I think foods where there's kind of that like filling to it, and you don't know what's all in there. Like I'm like that. I'm like that with some salads. I'm like, there's just too much in there, and I'm sure there's something I don't want. Like pasta
Yeah.
salads and stuff like that.
And why
or-
is fruit hot?
Yo.
I mean, transition that into what's sort of ridiculous to me. My sort of ridiculous to me can also be a food thing. Because even though it took me a long time in life to have chicken tenders, I have always known they don't belong on the appetizer part of the menu. That's a meal. Who's just gearing
I
up
think when
with
they
some
when it got
tendies?
started with like the mainstream, that would have been the chicken McNuggets, which were much smaller. There's only 6 of them. They didn't really get into the 20 pack, so it was just this little box of thing, no bigger than the fries. So I think based on
Well,
size
that's fast
comparison-
food, though. I mean, but you can go to sit-down restaurants
Yeah.
and
To
on
me-
the
Oh,
Oh,
appetizer
sure. Well, that's
thing,
gone out of control.
To me,
That-
it depends on if they serve fries with the chicken tenders. That's a meal.
That's what I was going to say.
And that's just
Oh,
that's a hack right there. You can order
It
off
is
the
a
app, but
hack.
it's probably a little bit cheaper.
Man, I can turn any sit down restaurant to a tapas bar.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, everyone order an appetizer, and we're just gonna go in. Just have a smorgasbord of apps.
Well, yeah, because
Nice use of
appetizers are sort of,
smorgasbord.
they're like made for an entire table of people to eat. It sort of sucks when you're the only one who wants the appetizer.
No, to hell with that. Nope. Because
Talk about
potato
hitting a nerve.
skins. Yes,
But
potato
tough-
skins. I will eat a whole thing of potato skins by myself. Now mozzarella sticks, that's a bit much because that's very.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
very rich, but.
Well, then
potato
in
skins.
theory, would have an entree coming too. So
Sometimes I just say, just bring it out in the box.
Like you
if
said,
you do-
tapas.
if you do apps for
We started
dinner,
calling
that's
eating
fine.
appetizers for dinner as tapas.
Right.
Just like a charcuterie board is just like it's a cheese plate, man. It's a ham and cheese plate. It's a,
Right,
Girl
right.
it's
dinner.
a deli tray. It's
A delicious girl dinner.
Hashtag girl dinner.
Oh, jeez.
So that's pretty ridiculous to me.
Yeah, for sure. I get that. All right, so question 3. What is something sort of ridiculous that has happened to you?
Well, the bad thing about me making Chris go first was that sort of ridiculous thing that happened to you was pretty. It was a good story to tell.
Follow.
Right.
Yeah, mine's not on that level, but I was thinking about how I was doing comedy out of town, far enough out of town to get an Airbnb, and the Airbnb host was so nice. She worked at a restaurant. I went there to eat. She comped the food, and then she actually got tickets to one of the comedy shows. So nice, so supportive.
That is cool.
But then during my set, I get up to my closer of a joke, and she heckled me.
No.
And she stepped on the punchline of my big closer. And just totally took the wind out of my sails. And I was like, that's going in the review.
What did she say?
So this'll make sense to just Chris and Darren, but I have a joke where I'm alluding to something, and she just did that thing where she yelled out like, "It's a cat. It's a cat." And it's really a centipede, but like that ruins the whole momentum of it. And I was like, that's going in the review. You went from 5 stars to like 3 really fast.
Did you say that to her?
Absolutely.
Nice.
That's definitely awful. So when I have comedians on here, I like to tell you my favorite jokes of yours. All right.
Oh.
All right. So Dana, it is doing social media for your job.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh my gosh! Can I tell them or can you already
Please
know?
do.
Okay, so she manages the social media accounts for a hospice.
Oh, joy. Well, I mean, somebody needs to close these accounts. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's 2024, baby. Everybody, we all got to be online.
Yes.
Somebody's got to do
Fate
it.
book, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I cry laugh.
Hospice is still a business.
Right.
Absolutely.
Dying is never going to end. Well, at least not for the business.
Right.
Not if they can help it. Not if they got anything to do with it.
And business is boomer.
Business is booming right now. I used to work for the shoe store, and it was more for like conservative older folks, but they're trying to be all cool. So every time they see a hearse, they're like, "Oh, there goes another customer," and they probably went in their shoes too.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. This funeral brought to you by company name.
Yes, and they don't deserve to be shouted out. Actually, they do, but yeah, you're not an underwriter, so whatevs. All right. So
What do we got for Chris?
oh yeah, so for Chris, it was well, after I saw you with short hair, I was your bit about your hair, like, you know, I might not be like a very masculine he, but I think I'd be a very what did you say? Person, very hardcore they or something like that. I forget the words exactly, but it was
a pretty rugged they them.
Yeah,
Not
there
the
you
most
go.
masculine he,
There you go.
he, him,
That is
but-
good.
There
So
you go.
when are we going to see you guys? Are you going to
Yes.
be part of the big show coming up?
Yeah, we have 30 seconds. So
Oh, yeah.
So Chris will be on the Faklandia, the Drunkening Comedy Show on the 27th. And Dana, you have what going on?
I'm gonna be at Comedy on State with Joe Pera, but I absolutely want to work with you again, Darren. Hope I
yeah,
can
we
make it
definitely do
on
that.
a future one.
Oh, it is all good. So with that being said, this has been another episode of Sorta Ridiculous.
Etc.
Smash a button. I will catch you guys next week.
Bye-bye.